And welcome back to another episode of The Conversation. I'm Newbert Told The Conversation. We talk about different candidates who are running for office. We're going to have I always call it Brockton's Breakfast Club. If you're going to run for office, you want to stop by The Conversation, the podcast here. Joined a very good friend of mine, a person who's been involved in the city for years now. Bishop Tony Branch, first and foremost, appreciate you coming. You're running for Ward 4 City Council.
Yes, sir. First of all, I want to bless you for having me in your studios today. You've been a blessing to this community, all the great work that you're doing, and most importantly, where we fail to have an opportunity to have a voice for people to be able to hear. So we appreciate you, and we bless you for the work that you are doing.
Thank you so much, and likewise. I mean, I know you're currently a Southeastern School Committee member as well. So appreciate your work and the dedication that you have. I mean, public service is it's not for the weak.
No, it's not. Yeah, and my campaign knows that.
So listen,
yeah.
You're running again for office. You ran for mayor at one point.
Yes, sir.
Now you're running for city council.
Right.
Why are you running for Ward 4 City Council? Tell the viewers who you are. What's your platform?
So, this is my second time running for the city council. When Studinsky stepped down, it was myself, Councilor Nicastro, and I believe at that time it may have been Derek Barrows. I don't remember. That was 2017.
Yeah, it was Derek Barrows.
And one of the things that I said then, which is true now, is that there is just limited opportunities for us to make a difference in the city of Brockton. What has happened in the Brockton, and unfortunately, people are not being honest, but Brockton has always been about, at least for the last 60 years, power, position, and pensions. And that is the recycling of political leadership in the city that has basically been a bar to people that look like me and you from accomplishing what needs to be accomplished in order for us to make sure that our voices are heard, that our communities are heard. Now, people may say, well, Bishop, is that an issue of race? No, it's not necessarily an issue of race. That's just the way machine politics works in the city of Brockton. I said it in 2017 during the debate that we had on BCA that we cannot afford another decade of having someone in that office that is not reflective of the community, that does not see things in the lens of our community, and basically, just is holding on to the position. With all due respect to Susan, listen, a lot of work needed to be done 10 years ago, a lot of work needed to be done 7 years ago, a lot of work needs to be done in the next 2 years, and that has to be reflected of strong professional leadership. And that's what I'm bringing to the table. I'm a straight shooter.
All right, so let's talk about that. What separates you from the candidate running right now? Why are you the better choice?
I'm the better choice because I've been on the ground with the community. Plain and simple. And it doesn't matter which community, I'm there with them. I'm their voice. I'm there working hard for them. I'm their advocate. You have to be with the community to understand their pain, their sorrow. You can't pay your rent. I've been there and helping them in the housing court. They've had issues with respect to the schools. I've been there. They've had hiring issues. I've been there. People know that Tony Branch is readily available to assist the community, and it's not politics. It is a calling. It is our work as missionaries to our community. This is not a cliche. We are responsible. We are responsible as anointed leaders to do what is right for our community, regardless of their culture. Talk to me.
Let's talk about Ward 4.
Yeah.
What's your main priority in Ward 4? The Ward 4 South Side, it's kind of a ghost town over there.
Yes, it is.
As a city councilor, what could you do to kind of spark some business over in Ward 4? Right. What's the number one issue going on there right now?
Well, the number one issue in Ward 4 is actually not business. The number one issue in Ward 4 is traffic enforcement. People are scared to cross the streets. You have cars that are going not necessarily 170 miles an hour. You have Campello Station where people are burning rubber all times of night. You have grandmothers that want to cross the street. So what I'm looking at is a rehaul of the traffic commission here in the city of Brockton. What is it? And we can get into other departments. I want to talk about the Brockton Housing Authority. What's happening is that you need to, first of all, make sure that we have an advocate that's going to work with Public Works to clean up Ward 4 and other wards. I mean, this has to be collective. Vacant lots is unacceptable. Curb appeal is unacceptable in a city that should be as beautiful as our city. So for me, it's traffic enforcement. The second issue is to your point, is really dealing with what we're doing about the small business. But that goes against Brockton having a program just like every every other city where we improve the look of businesses. You know, we're one of the SBA navigators, and one of the number one issues, other than language, is the fact that how do I grow my business? How does my business look beautiful? We're unable to do that because we haven't had folks that are transferring those resources from the Brockton Redevelopment Authority and others into a community like Ward 4. People don't know what exists in terms of city services. This is why you see a surplus in some of these grant monies that have not transferred into. Let's talk about it.
Okay, let's talk about specifics though. I mean, what a city councilor, has to work with the other city councilors, the other 10 and what have you. How could you, as a city councilor, you mentioned some great ideas. How do you get that done? You're not the mayor. How do you get that done? How do you spark plug that?
You get that done through one of the things that I'm going to be able to do. I'm going to be able to bring people to city council meetings. The reason why there's a lack of oversight, and the reason why there's lack of people saying that I want to do this for Ward 3, I want to do Ward 4, Ward 5 or 6, is because there's not a collective body of people that are coming out and backing their city councils up. With me elected, you're going to see a transition, because what people are going to say is, oh boy, it's not this Tony talking. The community wants this. What's happening in the school department? People are not showing up to the meetings. You need to have these, the type of leadership that can bring people out and demand change. The reason why nothing has changed, the reason why dollars are not transferring to Ward 4, who's been demanding it? Who's been demanding it? And look at the BCA tapes. No one's demanding change. I'm going to be able to bring that.
Okay. Let's talk about some things that have been kind of in the news last couple months. I first want to talk about the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
Do you agree with purchasing the
No,
fairgrounds? Why?
absolutely not.
Talk to me.
No, the fairground, first of all, with all due respect to Mr. Carney and his family, if we are going to purchase the fairgrounds, which the city of Brockton should not be in the real estate business, that's not an experience. We're having a problem running school department. We're having a problem dealing with clean streets. Now we're in the real estate business. Makes no sense. Nonetheless, I digress. So in real estate, when you look at commercial or residential, when you're doing a market analysis, you always bring in a minimum of 3 to do the market analysis. And then you make that comparable, decide what is the actual valuation. It's not done by the city of Brockton's tax rate. It's done by evaluation. What is the private industry willing to pay? What should be happening with the fairgrounds is the BRA should be working on seeing what the real purchase price is and getting private developers to weigh in. If private developers are not willing to purchase a fairground, why is the city of Brockton willing to do it? Because the Globe answered the question. The Globe answered the question. Someone needed to get rid of the fairgrounds, and the city, what? Made an offer. That's what's happening with the fairground. $55 million. We don't have $55 million to purchase the fairground. And even if we did, where's that coming from? It's coming from ratepayers. That means that the property tax payers in the city of Brockton will eventually have to pay that debt. So my answer to the fairground is no. Now let me just say, you asked another question about the Carney. My position is Carney should be like, well, Mr. Carney, come on now. You've made a lot of money off of the fairgrounds. Can you do us a deed? Why isn't folks considering a donation of the fairgrounds and using it as a tax write-off? There are other options for the fairground, as it is for large parcels of land, similar to Franklin Park in Boston. I mean, we need to think outside of the box and not continuously put debt on the ratepayers of the city of Brockton.
So this still might go through.
No, it's probably going to go through.
If
Deals have been made.
Okay, so if it goes through, it goes through. You disagree that it goes through. What's next?
If it actually goes, thank you, because the real estate is my thing. So if it actually goes through and we're looking at development, then that has to be given to the Brockton Redevelopment Authority. But the city council should do some sort of an order around that particular parcel of land. I don't know how it's going to be deeded to the city of Brockton, who's going to have the authority over the fairgrounds. I haven't looked into that. But if it is, it should be the Brockton Redevelopment Authority, and the Brockton Redevelopment Authority should be instructed to work with private developers to get that off of our books.
I do want to talk about the other issue, the elephant in the room. I know it's school committee issue, but I think the issue is that a lot of times it's that issue, and there's no transparency. It's their problem, not our problem.
Right.
But school committee gets a budget from the superintendent. School committee approves that budget. Then it goes to the city council for approval.
Yeah.
Okay. So my question is there some things as a city councilor that we could do to vet the process where there won't be a deficit? Because the city council does approve the school committee budget.
Yeah.
What is the role of the city council? Because the money's going to come from somewhere. We still owe the money.
Right.
What's the role of the city council in terms of that?
Well,
and who's in city council? Do they place some blame to it?
No, wait. So let's start from the beginning. The school, the chapter funding for the budget is allocated based upon the Proposition 2.5 taxes of the city of Brockton in terms of what the city of Brockton is going to pay to the school department. It is true that the school department then presents that budget before the city council as did Southeastern. At the end of the day, whatever the school committee has submitted to the city council, it should be approved at the amount that the school department requested. Now, if that is not done, if there's $3, $4, $5 million, then that's a huge issue. That then becomes an issue for the city of Brockton, who then kicks back a budget saying that I'm not going to fund the school department for what they requested. That's a separate issue. The school department and the school committee are exclusively responsible for the expenses of that particular budget, not the Brockton City Council. And I'm going to go actually,
Even if the city council approves the budget,
if
there's no fault of city council.
No, wait a minute. The only fault is the city council is what? If they underfund the budget. That's the only fault of the city council. The school committee is an elected body. And so my position was, and I said this publicly, even on my own program. So when the city council says, school committee come before me regarding what happened at the school, they were out of pocket. They don't have the authority to do that. That'd be like the state representatives calling in the Senate and the Senate calling in the state rep. They don't have the authority to do it. The responsibility of the Brockton City Council deals exclusive with if the budget is underfunded. It is the issue of the city council and it is the issue of the mayor. With respect to the school committee, if they forwarded a budget based upon what their superintendent said is approved, then the school committee, as a political subdivision, they own that responsibility. And that's the way it works. And what's frustrating is people haven't looked this stuff up to find out who's responsible for what. But I digress.
Is there a transparency issue then? Because
No. With all due respect, no. There's not a transparency issue. The only issue is that people are not paying attention. The issue with what happened at the Brockton School District, is the fact that, like I said, we've been a city of power position and pensions. I hire a newbie to be my chief financial officer. Something comes up. You're my boy. You may be the assistant financial officer. Assistant financial officer is reporting it, but you are the political appointee with all that political power. You've been in that position for 10 years. You may be whimpering, yes, this is going on, but no one's holding people accountable. And that's because in Brockton, leadership is recycled. And we need to have that honest conversation. The reason why this stuff was happening and folks knew it, emails were flying around, and nothing was done because of politics.
What has Tony Branch accomplished in the last 4-6 years that makes him qualified and the better candidate to run for Ward 4 City Council? What are your accomplishments? Convince the viewers why you.
I think my greatest accomplishment is bringing awareness to Southeastern to some of the significant racial issues that not only occurs in the district, that it impacts people on a daily basis. I think that my proudest day, to be honest with you, was when I was able to get the George Floyd resolution before our school committee and to get it approved. And from that point, for us to really start working with students around racial issues and really around violence against young black men that are unarmed in our country. The reason why I see that as a significant accomplishment is because the communities that represent Southeastern are really, they don't look like us. And the fact that they are willing to support change was impressive to me. Recently, we passed, I sponsored us to finally have a cultural subcommittee at Southeastern that was approved by the school committee. So I'm proud of the work that I've done to bring awareness with respect to people that look like you and I. And the reason why people are like, well, that's the race thing. No, I'm not. It's not the race thing. What's the race thing is us using it as, it's not an opportunity for us to complain, but it's an opportunity for us to bridge the gap. What I am so happy about is 10 years of bridging the gap, bringing people together. My accomplishment is to bring us together and to make sure that we do what is right for the folks of Ward 4.
November 7th, don't boo, vote. As Barack Obama said, listen, I want to thank you for coming on. Always taking on the challenge. Always a good conversation.
Yeah.
Always
I have
a good
more.
time.
I have more.
How can they listen to your show? Once you give that a
So
plug.
we're on 15:30 a.m. every Sunday at 12 noon. We've changed our slot, so Ed and I at Stand Up Strong. I wanted people to join the conversation. We also on Facebook Live join the conversation about what we can do to have change in the city of Brockton. And one of the things that I've said, Newbie, I'm not running against Susan Castro. I'm running for us to have a voice in Ward 4, a voice that is reflective of the lens of how we see our community.
Thank you for joining us here. I want to remind all the viewers, we're going to make some announcements very soon in the next couple of months about our next documentary. But if you want to continue to support our documentaries, please go to our website, Newey Productions, and click donate. Tony, I'm going to give you actually a copy of our documentary,
Oh, my
IMU. If you don't
He
have
gave me a copy. Thank you.
if you don't have, if you have a copyrighted gift to someone who needs to watch it, we're gonna have Rita Mendez coming up in soon to talk about the education bill.
Nice.
So that's huge right there. So anyway, thank you for joining us.
The education bill, and not forget that there's also a bill regarding diversity. Black teachers are always the first fired. There's legislation that is going through the House right now. Very important for people to look at that legislation. Something that I talked about when Kathy was superintendent or chair of diversity. We are black teachers are the first fired in the city of Brockton, so it's very important that we have legislation that supports them maintaining their jobs because there is a limited amount of what the union can do.
Listen, as an educator, I'm a big proponent of that. So that is it for the conversation. We'll be back with more candidates. Tony, God bless.